So, Mom, grief is something that you deal a lot with, and both of us have had a lot of losses in our life. What would you suggest to someone who's experiencing grief?
I think that it's important to understand that grief doesn't just encompass the loss of a person.
Mm-hmm.
It can be the loss of a lifestyle, it can be the loss of a job, the loss of many, many things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you really need to be aware that some of the things that you go through when you experience grief are similar, no matter what that might be.
Mm-hmm.
I think, if we're talking specifically around the loss of a person, I think every loss is different. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a parent, a friend, a sibling, a child, they're very different. And the way I might experience even the loss of my mother, say, is going to be different than how someone else experiences the loss of their mother.
Yeah.
So it's really important to be aware that everybody's grief is different. Everybody's grief is going to be experienced in a different way. And I think it's also important to distinguish between mourning and grief. And mourning is the expression of the grief.
Okay.
And grief is something that is more internal. And it is something, a lot of times people say, well, it's been long enough, you should kind of be getting over this.
Yeah.
Well, there's no period of time. And I think when it's someone who's really important to us, that's significant, we literally mourn that loss for life. It changes as the time goes on, but you miss them. And that's a good thing. I always say that honors a person. Mm-hmm. I still miss my mom, and
she's been gone 18 years.
She's been gone over 18 years, and we
I
still
miss her too.
we still cry about her when we talk about her,
do.
and we do different things to honor who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Same with my dad and my brother and all of those different losses.
Yes.
So I think it's just important to honor the people. I think it's important to respect people when they're grieving, allow them to grieve in their own way, support them, and if it's difficult, if you feel like you're getting stuck, then seek professional counsel, because someone who's experienced in the area of grief, because it can really help kind of continue to process that grief.
And so what would you suggest to a friend or family member who's trying to help a friend or family member go through their grief?
Okay, I think that's a great question, because so often we don't know what
exactly
to do, what
it's
to say.
Kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You don't want to say the wrong thing.
I think what you do is you do what you can initially just to help them out to get through the days.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people say, well, call me if you need something.
They're not going to call.
They're not going to call.
Yeah.
Just, call them and say, I've got a meal, I'd like to drop by your place for you.
Yeah.
Or, can I come over and clean your house? I know it's just to help you out a little bit. Or do you need some groceries for me to pick up? All kinds of things you can do for people. But they will not call to ask for help. I think also just listen to them. Mm-hmm. They're going to talk over and over and over again. And sometimes it's really difficult as a friend to just sit and listen to that.
It starts to repeat itself.
You think, I've heard this before.
Yep.
They will say the exact same thing over and over again. Just allow them to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And allow them to do whatever they need to do to express their grief.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone, as I said, will be different, and they need to do it in their way and their time. Don't tell them you need to sell the house and move out.
No.
They'll know when it's time.
Yeah.
Don't tell them get rid of the clothes. Again, they'll know when it's time to get rid of the clothes.
Yeah.
So just let them do it in their own time when they're ready.